Okay, I think I'm not showing that I'm back on, so I think I am back on. So sorry, I something happened with my computer and it just kicked me off. I've seen a comment come in. Um, that comment disappeared when my video went down. So if you had a comment and you want to repost it, if it was a question, please do so, and I will get to that. But back to Kathy's question. If there are no court orders in place, the father actually has superior right to the child, which means he could come and pick up the child and not bring her back. Um, so to protect the child and to keep the normalcy in her life, um, and I think it may have just said that it just went live. So I'll repeat myself, and I'm sorry if I repeat myself and you heard this, but computer, something happened and it kicked me off of my previous live feed. And I think I was in the middle of answering Kathy's question. So if you sent me a comment on the previous video, if you want to repost that comment with it, if it was a question, so that I can get it in this video, that would be appreciated. So Kathy, what I was saying, and hopefully it's not a repeat, but if it is, I apologize. That's how we know that we're all live and learning how to live in this new world. Um, so the 5-month-old granddaughter, or the granddaughter came to live with Kathy when she was 5 months old. Now it's 5 years old. And father is wanting visitation with her, and he's not practicing social distancing. So if there aren't any court orders in place allowing you, Kathy, and your husband to be the managing conservators, then the father actually has a superior right and does not necessarily have to return the child for any reason. There's a lot more that can be involved in that, but that's kind of the general answer. I would encourage you can reach out to me and we can set up a free 15-minute consultation and maybe answer some more specific questions. But typically, if there aren't court orders saying any different, a parent has superior right. So I always encourage when we have, family members or anybody that's in this situation where a child has lived with you for several years and you are not a parent, that you go ahead and you get what we call a suit affecting parent-child relationship, establishing you as the conservator of the child. And that's actually a court order that shows that you have the right to be what we call a managing conservator. Um, and that gives you the rights and duties to act as a parent. It also would set up child support, visitation, that sort of thing. And so without that, the police, if they were called to a situation, you know, a parent's going to have the superior right to have the child. So I would, highly recommend that you get a court order in place. You've got the standing, the child has been with you long enough. So definitely want to do that, especially if you have location of both parents. It makes it pretty simple to do that. You would just file with the courts. And I just want to take a minute to say the courts are open. They are not necessarily hearing live hearings. Um, they are open. District clerks are still open accepting filings. So it's not like the court system has just shut down. We are still open. We're still working. The attorneys are essential businesses, so we are open. We're working from home, as you can see behind me. I've got my temporary office set up in my I say this loosely, home gym. So you can see some workout equipment behind me and my little dog, stuffed dog that encourages me when I work out. So even though we're working at home, we have been able to transition to digital very easily. And so we're still able to take your phone calls. We're still able to do all the work that we need to do for our clients. So if you need anything, just reach out to us. I am offering 15 minutes free consultations via phone or video. So we can answer any questions. And Kathy, I would definitely suggest maybe we set one up so that I can get a little bit more in detail with the specifics of your case, because I don't want to do that live with everybody listening. So the other question we have is actually regarding business. And so I am starting to do my business. I used to do a lot of business law, business litigation. So if you own a small business and you need some legal help, reach out to me. We've got some different options for you. Um, if you're a contractor and you need contracts reviewed, I would, you can just send them to me and I'll review them real quick. And so that's another service that we're opening up again. So Rhonda Holloman had to ask me. She says she currently has a sole proprietor doing business as type of business, but she actually has two businesses that she's running sort of as departments under that one DBA. And she wants to register a second DBA and was going to do that before we all, had the coronavirus send us home. And so she wants to know she was going to do an LLC, which is limited liability company, and she wants to know if she needs to create separate limited liability companies or just one and kind of have it act as an umbrella company. And so you kind of have some choices. It depends. Really, you can just do one LLC and operate DBAs out of that LLC. And so I see a lot of people doing different kinds of consulting. So they'll have a, ABC Consulting Company LLC, and that was their formation with the Secretary of State. And then you can actually register separate DBAs under that LLC. Another option that you have is what they call a series LLC. A series LLC is where you have a kind of a parent LLC, and then you have department LLCs, for lack of a better word, that are underneath that umbrella or parent LLC. Each LLC series operates as its own business, but they all report to the top business. And so it's a little bit more in depth in making sure that it's formed correctly if you're going to do that. But it sounds like, if I'm reading your question right, you should be able to just form the one LLC, and then if you want to do different kind of sub businesses under that, that's allowed. And you would just do DBAs if you're going to do skincare product and you want to do different names to separate those out. Then you can do just the DBAs underneath the LLC. So it would be the name of the LLC operating as or doing business as, and then whatever the other name is. And you can register those with the counties that you're working in. And there's also some paperwork that would tie the names to the LLC. And so there's some different things to do with formation. Ron, if you want to reach out to me, we can definitely talk about your options. But that was a really good question. And a lot of people don't know the series LLC is something that's been, I won't say recent, but it's one of the newer business entity formations that I've seen. So I think that was all of the questions. Probably going to be a little shorter video today. Well, we kind of had two going here, so I apologize about the technical difficulties. But it's Good Friday, so I gave my staff the day off, and I'm going to try to get a little bit of time to spend with the family we're all been home. So that's kind of been the nice thing that's come out of this, is getting more time with family. It's also given me some time to really, work on the business and my systems. And one thing is, when you're not all in the same office, you really notice where the communication may be breaking down, and you're able to fix those things. So there's a lot of positive that's going to come out of us having to social distance and the stay-at-home orders. And I would just encourage everyone to focus on the positive that's going to come out of this instead of all the negative. I would also encourage all business owners to look into the Paycheck Protection Program loans. Banks are starting to process those. I have some contacts of banks that are processing those for non-members. So I know a lot of businesses, including my own, were having difficulty with some of the larger banks wanting to deal with the PPP loan, and turning people away or saying they weren't doing them or just giving them a lot of hoops. And so I've got some contacts at other banks that have been much easier to deal with than my own. I think we may start seeing a lot of people moving to these other banks from the big banks after this is all up. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Um, I don't see any more questions coming in, and I think that's all that I really have to say. So just send me your questions. I'm going to do this every Friday at 11:30, and yeah. So be nice, be positive, and we'll talk to you next week.